You are now listening to The Outsiders podcast. Welcome everyone to another episode of The Outsiders. I'm your host Sean Sims, and with me, our special co-host, he's superstar Marvin Doc Cheatham. Doc, how are you doing today?
I woke up, it's a good day in the afternoon, and God bless everyone for listening.
Well, I'm glad that people are listening, and more people are tuning in and listening, and it's great and wonderful to see that we're getting some traction. We had some traction, but it's getting more and more popular because people want to know the truth. They want to know what's really going on. They don't want to get this bubblegum cupcake, information, and it's sugar-coated or just plain old covered up, or just don't find out what's really going on. The Outsiders give the inside information, and I'm going to make this be known because I made this known right in the beginning when we started doing this show in October last year, that we're here to do two things: chew bubble gum and kick ass. And we're all out of bubble gum. So this show is going to be hard hitting, and we're going to get down to that nitty gritty of what's really going on. But we have to start with, because Doc is a sports guy and he's a former athlete. I'm a sports guy and I'm a former athlete. So we got to talk about what's going on. Our favorite baseball team, the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles in the postseason, and it looks like, Doc, we're going to be playing those Texicans, the Texas Rangers. We only went, 3-3 against them? We were 500, so we were even when we played them. So how do you think we're going to fare against Texas?
I think home field advantage.
That's always a good thing.
Home field advantage, I think, is what's going to make the difference. We got a group of young folks that really don't understand pressure. So I think they're going to respond quite well. I'm looking for some good baseball, but I would say this: let's go O's.
Let's go O's. The amazing Orioles getting it done. Soak it in, everybody. Soak it in, because it feels so good. And I think they're going to, I called this months ago. You and I had a conversation, and you were a little bit more pessimistic, I should say. I was more optimistic. And I called it, I said, you know what, they have a great farm system. I think these guys, they did a really good job with developing these kids, bringing them up. They brought some veterans in, Kyle Gibson, from a World Series team. And so I think that mix, I was more optimistic than you were, Doc, on that. But they're in, and we pray and wish them success, because I want to go to another World Series game. It's been a long time. And the Ravens, of course, with their victory this past Sunday, and let's see what they can do. Pittsburgh's QB is out. He wasn't doing much good anyway, the starter. So how do you think they're going to fare against the much hated? Oh,
I had a bit of pessimism with the last two games with the Ravens, only because of the large number of injuries. that they've had for the last 2 weeks. But of course, the quarterback from last week's team, we're being told the day of the game that he wasn't playing. All the bettors totally changed their betting because with the quarterback that's being paid the most, not even playing in the game, the Ravens became a favorite. I think the difference with this week is we got a few more folks that are coming back from injury. I think we will be comfortable to probably be favored between 3 and 5 points for the Ravens to beat the Steelers.
Well, Deshaun Watson, you know, his shoulder got banged up. This guy came in with the hyphenated name as a quarterback. They pretty much beat the crap out of him. I mean, whew, I thought they were trying to kill him. I thought, guys, I mean, we want to win, but I thought they were trying to end his career the way they were hitting him. The Steelers, I think we should be able to take the Steelers. I'm going to go by 10. I'll say by 10. We'll beat the Steelers by 10 points. But we want to get into the heavy stuff of what's going on in Baltimore City. This is the Baltimore edition of The Outsiders. We're going to have the Banks Report at the end of the show. We're going to go out with the Banks Report, and Kim Banks has some very poignant words, and it's going to play perfectly into this show and what we're talking about. But what happened? I was there at the confirmation of what happened. I was there, witnessed it all in the front row. If you go to Charm TV, you'll see me with my Outsiders, same Outsiders shirt, and you'll see me there in the front row. I'm actually sitting next to Shorty Davis, who was a guest on The Outsiders. And what I witnessed was a date which will live in infamy. It was an infamous day. I was disgusted. It was a disgrace. Nick Mosby. Oh boy. Nick, I'll just say this. This is before I even get to the audio. You're losing this year. I'll put it that way. And next year you're going to lose again because you're going to get ousted as the president of the Baltimore City Council. For my YouTube viewers, you can see I'm doing the sign of the L on my forehead for loser, because that's what you're going to be, and that's what you were on October the 2nd, a loser. The way you all sold out the city of Baltimore, it was a disgrace. It was disgraceful. So I'm going to go ahead and play that. Doc, I mean, before I play this, what do you think about what happened with this confirmation of Richard Worley?
Well, I sent out to, I think it was 85 people from the news this morning, and I sent out to about 60 activists. So I guess about not quite 150 people. Of course, you were first on the list. But I sent out 6 real criticisms why no one should vote for anyone on the city council.
No.
And I want to say, because I sent it to the mayor, and I copied the media and activists so they would know I'm documenting 6 major issues where the black community has been totally ignored when it comes to the mayor and the police commissioner. And I listed it first as the Brooklyn Homes incident. We were not told the truth about that whole incident. It has been a cover-up. The increase in violence in the city of Baltimore started with the Western District. They have not told us about that. The 15-year-old kid that was killed in front of the Gilmore Elementary and Lillian Jones Rec Center, the community has gotten no information from that. The fact that the police commissioner and the mayor went along with it, not informing Baltimore City, more especially the Evanston community, that there was a killer and a rapist. They did nothing to tell us that. And the Western District for the last 2 months has not had a phone line that people can call on weekends. And I brought that information to Box 45 to let them know. And of course, I would add one additional thing. The E. coli situation had its anniversary this year, and this was another situation where the mayor did not inform black people in Baltimore City. So I'm saying none of the members of the city council, bar the one from Cherry Hill that did vote against the police commissioner, none of the members of the city council deserve to be reelected. None of them.
I concur, and I'm going to go ahead and cue that up because it was a disgrace.
Quiet and decorum in the chambers. Good afternoon. Mr. Blythe, it's no time for that. Okay. We appreciate that, Mr. Blythe. Unfortunately, there's been a member of this body that communicated to some of the advocates and some of the folks that are upset that they should talk to the presiding officer about the ability to speak tonight. Obviously, we all know that that is not the way this body operates, not just here, but in Annapolis as well as in Congress. This is a formal council meeting, and at this time, members of the public are not to participate in this discussion. That's just the way that we have always run this. I'm sorry that a member of this body communicated to you that you should talk to a presiding officer about that.
Wait, stop. Now, the gentleman who was sitting behind me, he got up in order to basically say that the citizens should be able to say something in regards to this this vote. And the city council president, Nick Mosby, or soon to be former city council president, Nick Mosby, explained to him how things work, that basically he can't say anything. And then he proceeded, as you can hear, to bring up the fact that there was a council person who told these people who were there that they could speak, they could testify as to why they were vehemently against Richard Worley's confirmation. Now, Nick Mosby didn't let anyone know who was this person who did this. I sent an email to Nick Mosby, his people, made a phone call, and one of the worst services, I'm going to tell you what happened. I called Nick Mosby's office, and I got the runaround. I was told that you can go to this website in order to set up an appointment to talk with him. They gave me the wrong information. Then the lady who answered the phone, I called back. She said, no, actually, there's 3 websites. I'm not sure which website is the correct website. Now, this is the president of the Baltimore City Council. And then she goes, okay, you can talk with a certain young lady, Sky, someone or other. I don't even remember her name. I took the notes down, put them somewhere. And I called that number, and it was the Department of Transportation, Human Resources, and I asked for this young lady, Sky, and we don't know no, this is not her number. This is the Department of Transportation, Human Resources. So I called back, and then I get the runner, oh, no, well, that's the correct number. We called it, it's the correct number. No, it wasn't. No, it was not. It wasn't the correct number. So I must have called that office, Doc, about 4 or 5 times in a row, and I came out of it with literally like nothing. So I have the councilman, the president, the soon-to-be former president of the city council. I have his email. I believe I sent that to him or to another email that was given to this young lady, Sky. I didn't get any answers back from him, of course. The way you run the Baltimore City Council is terrible, horrible. So you need to get the boot, Nick. Terrible. You can't even get a message to this guy. So let me go on, because I wanted to let people know that the service that you receive, and what do his constituents do when they try to get in touch with him. But let me go on.
That is inappropriate of them. That's consistent to who they are and what they've always done. But this meeting is for the formal business that's at hand right now. Yes, that's why we have that. And it's the purpose in the legislative process of having a first, a second, and a third reader. We're on second reader, it's gone through committee. At this time, we will start the meeting. Please, I ask that everybody refrain from making comments. It's time for us to conduct this meeting the way that we've always conducted.
I will say something. I was making comments. They weren't really loud, but I was basically, because they were sitting right in front of me, the city council people. There was some on the left side, some on the right, and the other, across the aisle on the other side. But the ones sitting in front of me, I know they could hear me, including Eric Costello, Antonio Glover, and so on, a few more. And I said, you guys are a bunch of sellouts. I was telling them that. You vote for Worley, you're a sellout. You're a bunch of sellouts. So let me go on.
Conducted with decorum, with respect, and with professionalism for members.
Yeah, the decorum and respect that you showed the citizens by voting yes to Richard Worley, who is not even a city resident, and he was the head of that district with a gun trace task force on top of that, and people got shot up and the police didn't go there to help people who were getting shot up. Two were murdered, including Mrs. Gonzalez's daughter, Aaliyah Gonzalez, and the Fegbemi's family. Their son was murdered. So let me go on.
Those that have alternative motives, I ask that you leave them to yourself, and you do not incite
alternative motives. You mean you talk about the pot calling the kettle black? You mean the alternative motives that the city council members had because I sent them an email, each and every one of them, and I asked them, who did you meet with, what churches, what organizations, what community organizations, who did you meet with prior to your vote, and what date and time did you meet with them, what recommendations did you record from them? They didn't respond back, Doc. They didn't give me any response back when I asked them those questions if they met with their constituents. So you got the nerve to talk about ulterior motives. Let me go on.
Cite the audience. Good afternoon. The 63rd meeting of the 73rd term of the Baltimore City Council is now called to order. And it's the next Commissioner for Baltimore Police Department. Madam Clerk, please call the next bill.
Now, after he announced, after the people got reamed by the Baltimore City Council yet again, and he made the announcement, and this is when the folks got thrown out because they went ballistic.
This is the second notice.
Now, he's saying this is the second notice. Prior to him making that announcement, this guy who looked like, Steven from Django Unchained, reaches up and tugs on him, and I guess he tells him to say that.
To the folks disrupting this meeting, this is the second notice.
Okay, so this went on, and they were escorted out by the police. Doc, what's your opinion on this? The people, and I really want to know.
Well, I think, the activists, of course, have the right to, protest in the means that they feel is appropriate. Sometimes it's against the quorum for the city council meetings. But what troubles me more than that is that they argue and fuss about the wrong things. I would have thought as a result of the council not hearing them say anything, the first thing we would have heard today was that they would challenge the ordinance compliance of appointing a police commissioner that is not a resident of Baltimore City. That is a requirement. And the question should be posed of these activists, was the police commissioner, when the mayor swore him in today, is he a and was he a member of Baltimore City as a resident? Because I don't think there was enough time for him to sign a document changing his residency. And that's a mandate. Sometimes these activists, you're making a loud noise, but sometimes you're making a loud noise, but you're not saying anything.
You have to be effective in your activism. You have to have pinpoint accuracy and get to the point where people can, understand what you're protesting and protest something that you can legitimately say it's in a charter. That, first of all, when he was the deputy commissioner, per the charter, he was supposed to have been a resident. So he already proved what type of person he is by being the deputy commissioner and not moving to the city. He had plenty of time to move into the city then. Now you add the fact that you have all these debacles happening. He purposely didn't let the citizens of Baltimore City know that a maniac who's setting people on fire and slashing throats of rapists who had 30 years, he was given 30 years. And he got let out early by Judge Emanuel Brown. And this maniac's on the loose. And he didn't let people know because on September the 21st, it was his committee hearing for his confirmation. And if that information would have gotten out, maybe the Brandon didn't want that to get out because Brandon, he's in a strong mayor system. He's running the show. Worley's just doing what he tells him to do. So they didn't want to get it out.
I would say one thing. The activists, from my vantage point, dropped the ball on two occasions. One, they didn't confirm that he was in fact a city resident. But what makes it even worse, they were right there in the hearing room. I could hear them, in the background on your audio. Mm-hmm. But why didn't somebody say who was the person that told them they were going to testify? They're screaming and hollering about the wrong things. Why didn't they call
That's
the
a good
name
question.
of
Who
the
said
person
it?
that told them they could testify?
And that's a very good point. Because I was thinking that, okay, who told you that? And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to speak to, I got a few of the phone numbers of the couple of people who were there, and I'm going to speak with them, maybe have them on a show, do an interview.
Tell them name names. Don't
and ask them to name names.
Say somebody allegedly did it. Did somebody tell you could testify? And if they did, who was it?
Who was it? I'm going to find that. I'm going to find that out, Doc. You know me. I'm going to find out. I'll speak with them and find out who did that. And speaking of Worley, I mean, this guy, I don't know. It's bad luck, Schleprock, or Elmer Fudd. I don't know what to call him. But the day after he gets confirmed, then you have a mass shooting. I mean, the day now the Morgan game, which I planned on going to. I've been going to that Morgan homecoming football game since what, 1983, 84. I've only missed maybe a couple of years in all that time, and now it's canceled. So won't be going to that. So my buddy Derek Woodson and I, we're going to hang out. Now Woody, again, we're not going to be going to the game because of a mass shooting. But I'm going to go to that presser that they had. And, I had the full presser, but I'm just going to go to the clip where Worley is asked a question, and his answer was interesting. Let me go to that. Okay, here we go. Cue it out.
In the 80s. Okay, how many shooters and where exactly on campus?
What are they in a windstorm? This is coming straight from the audio. This is not my audio. This is coming straight from what I recorded. Okay, anyway.
So part of the ongoing investigation, we can't release that right now.
Okay, someone tweeted they found three shooters. Is that?
Okay, she's saying that somebody reported said something about 3 shooters, and she's asking now Commissioner, oh boy, Worley, about that.
We refer into that right now.
Alright, we go back.
can you confirm more than one?
No, we can't confirm.
The guy's saying he can't confirm one either.
No arrests.
No.
So, no arrests have been made. You said you haven't located the subject.
Okay, so now I believe this is the guy from the banner. He's saying no arrests have been made. Basically, they haven't found the culprit or culprits, and they're opening up, the school. They're pretty much saying, okay, everybody can just walk around. We haven't gotten the guy, but
Suspect. We've seen campus circle open back up in the lab.
or the young lady, or the older person, or whatever, because we don't know who did it. So I shouldn't have said guy. I'll say the person, suspect. We haven't gotten anyone, or suspects, because they don't know I'm in it.
Several hours. Can you explain how you made that decision without locating the suspect to, I don't know, if lifting the lockdown or lifting the shelter in place system?
Yeah, he's saying, you lifted the lockdown, and you don't have anyone. You don't have a suspect. Basically, why are you lifting the lockdown, numbnuts? You don't have a suspect or anything. It's been quite a short period of time. It hasn't been long. So the person could have been standing there at the press conference without them knowing.
Right phrase, but yeah, how did you decide to open campus back up?
It was a decision that we all came together to make, but we didn't open the campus up until our SWAT team had cleared the building where we thought the suspect may have ran.
So they didn't open the campus up until the SWAT team cleared the building.
And where we thought the shot came from. They cleared every single floor twice. And after that, we realized the campus was most likely safe.
So after they cleared the floor in one building, mind you, anybody's been on that Morgan State campus, there's many buildings, but they cleared the one, and then they felt that May, and he used the word May, that things may be okay now.
And we opened it back up because the shooter was no longer around. And after that, we realized the campus was most likely safe, and we opened it.
Sorry, the campus is most likely safe. Can you believe? Let me stop right here. Doc, does that make any sense to say that you cleared one building, and because of that, the campus is most likely safe?
Well, let's put it this way. If folks are believing anything this police force is telling us, then I got some swamp land in Chicago I'd like to send you. Because one of the things that we need to know as a black community, there is a video reflecting 4 people that's on a video. Why haven't we widely seen not only the video, but also some photo shots? What I'm telling you folks, and I indicated earlier, I sent information out to 60 news people. There is video on individuals that had something to do with that shooting. Why haven't we seen it? Why hasn't it been on all 4 of the TV stations? And I'm saying the Baltimore City Police Department and the mayor are with all the information to the black community, and this is about the 6th time that they've done it in 1 year.
Well, Slim Shady, he's really in charge. I mean, you have a commissioner, but he's really calling the shots. When Worley went out there to talk to the press, he had cue cards. He had little cards and notes. I was like, this guy is his police commissioner, and he can't give the information out. They had to write it up for him. Kim Klasick, she said something I thought was funny. She sounded more like me, because I know she listens to the show. And she made a statement about, the statement that Worley read was like a 7-year-old had written it. Because, Brandon's not the most articulate speaker, and she believed that he may have written that statement. I'm going to go along with her on that one. That makes sense. And he gets up there and he's fumbling around and he's reading the statement. Then the guy who's the officer with Morgan Security, who do not carry firearms. So that makes Morgan State University, because their security personnel do not carry firearms, they are regarded as a soft target. See, people love to go to soft targets to shoot them up because they're not going to have any bullets coming back at them because they don't have to worry. These guys are going to be running up to them with, what, flashlights? So they know, hey, we can go to Morgan State, act a fool, shoot it up, because it's a soft target. The security personnel aren't armed. Did you know that, Doc?
No, I did not know that. I thought only Baltimore City police were not armed.
Well,
no, not Baltimore City police. Baltimore City school police.
School police, yeah.
Put that emphasis on school police.
Well, the Morgan State security police, I guess if you want to call them that, they're not armed. So the students at Morgan State are being protected by people who have flashlights. Hey, parents out there who have kids at Morgan State or any other university where the security personnel aren't armed, don't you feel really, safe? Don't you feel confident that your kids are safe? I wouldn't. If I had a child who was attending Morgan State University, and first of all, I would have found that information out before I had my kid going there anyway. And they're not armed, and it's a soft target in Baltimore City, in the middle of Baltimore City, and you're a soft target with all? No, that's insane.
I didn't know that, so I can't agree and disagree. I didn't know that.
Oh no, I see. My dad was an Army Ranger. I was taught how to shoot. I was taught how to shoot at a cowboy.
No, I'm not talking about being armed. I mean, being armed on Morgan State University campus. I'm not knowledgeable. They on that issue, so I can't respond positive or negative because I didn't know that they were not. I thought all of the security on campuses in Maryland, I thought all of them were armed.
Okay, let me do this because we're going to go to the Dixon Town Hall, but I want to bring in, let me go ahead and work this. I'm going to bring in Linda Bass because we're going to speak with her. So if this thing will work right, I'm going to bring her in. But yeah, they are not armed, and that would indeed make that a soft target, and I wouldn't feel safe. How are you going to feel safe if somebody can just walk in and do that? But hold on just a second, let me reach out.
Well, you also understand in Northeast Baltimore, there's a police headquarters right there.
Okay, let me reach out to Linda. Hello? Hello? Hello, Linda.
Hi.
Hi, I got Doc on the line. We're on the podcast.
Hey, how's everybody this afternoon?
We're doing well. We just got finished talking about what happened at Morgan and the shooting and the press conference and so on. But I wanted to, because I wanted to bring you on specifically because of this situation, what's going on with Sheila Dixon. It was a town hall, and I was there at the town hall meeting. It was interesting, and I actually did ask her a question. So just hold on a second. I'm going to go ahead and cue this up so you can hear that.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Sims. I'm the host of the Outsiders podcast, and I have a question. Actually, this is from one of my listeners. The question is for Mayor Dixon. During your campaign, I wrote it down to make sure I got all the words right. During your campaign, if you become mayor again,
a second. Now I'm standing there, and I asked that question, and she starts talking about a brown lunch. And I'm thinking, because it took her, like, as you heard, it took her, several seconds. It's a softball question. It's actually, I mean, anyone who's running for an elected office, and you get asked a question like that, it's immediate. Of course I'm against discrimination and sexual harassment in the workplace. Of course, I want to make sure I want to bring on my team and people around me the best people I possibly can find. That's it. Softball, easy question. You should pop on that immediately. And the fact that when I asked her the question, she was like a deer in headlights. And I'm trying to figure in that pause, why is she pausing? This is an easy question, but I didn't understand the brown bag business. But let me go on so you can hear the rest of her answer. Let me stop. Inspector General. Now she's talking about Isabel Cumming. So people can go to the Inspector General? I mean, we're talking about discrimination, harassment, retaliation. These are the things that go on in the workplace. Sexual harassment. These things happen in the workplace. I have to ask you all this. What does the Inspector General, why is she bringing up Isabel Cumming, have to do with those things? Harassment or intimidation or discrimination in the workplace. Linda, could you tell me, because I'm just curious. I don't understand that response.
Well, let me just say this. I can't speculate as to why he would have diverted or deflected to Isabel Cumming, except to say that Isabel Cummings represents an independence, or the appearance of independence and neutrality with respect to being the arbiter of issues regarding corruption and integrity concerns within city government. But, apart from that, let us talk about what the responsibility happens to be of those who are entrusted with the mission of leading the city. Candidate Dixon brings the experience, maturity, and the drive, presumptively, to the city of Baltimore, should the people decide to elect her again. We know that this administration and previous iterations of administration have been beset with a lack of accountability, not only with the purse strings from a fiscal standpoint, but also with the people. Concerns regarding integrity, program management, and the inability to deliver results. Results that the people can see, like clean streets, a strong educational system, sustainable housing, affordable housing, the elimination of blighted housing, economic nets in our employment scenario. So there is just big responsibility that anyone coming into the leadership position will inherit. And that doesn't even scratch the surface of the overall shift in the workplace culture and the service mindset that has to occur within the city of Baltimore. We need a renaissance in terms of just an overall new start and a reset with respect to how people deal with each other in the workplace. And I say this as an expert who has had 31 years worth of leading civil rights experience across the federal agency, but also a person who has had the pleasure of having a lens being on the inside of city government from 2018 to 2020 to see how many of these programs and personnel work. There is a culture in city government that is extremely colonial, that is beset with discrimination, pay disparities, hostile work environment, workplace harassment, sexual harassment, retaliation against those who speak out against it, retaliation against whistleblowers, and all of this can be dealt with an effective leadership mindset, holding people accountable, resolving complaints at the lowest level possible, and ensuring that people who leave their homes come to a place and a space that the taxpayers pay them for, where they can work and excel and deliver a good day's service. The whole mindset and mentality of city government has to change. And this is not to say that there are not any good people, that we need to eliminate everybody, but clearly, not just the heads of agencies. We've got people who are buried in the bowels of civil government, city government, who've been there for decades, who have been perpetuators of bad actions, attitudes, and just failed service delivery in terms of the programs to the taxpayers. All of these issues need to be dealt with. We're going to have a mindset with someone who comes in there and expects that the taxpayer and the co-workers will be respected and that we will be able to see results. And that accountability has to start from the top, not only in terms of how they conduct and comport themselves, but the people that they surround themselves with and the choices that they make to help lead these programs and these activities for the taxpayers as we usher in a new era of hopeful leadership and results. I'm telling you, we've got to get back to basics. An honest day's work for an honest day's pay. You know, Cheatham quotes Dr. Martin Luther King a lot. He says in one of his quotes, that is Dr. King, that a true leader is not only a searcher of consensus, but a model and a molder of consensus. And we're going to have somebody who's coming into city government who's going to be willing to shake things up based on their experience, their maturity, their drive, their wisdom, and their desire to see Baltimore in a better shape tomorrow than it is today. And that's going to take a lot of work, and that's going to have to be dealt with, not necessarily soft, with a soft hand, but with a heavy measure of love and accountability. And I'm just optimistic that somewhere we've got a candidate out there who's going to measure up to that. But these workplace dynamics are pervasive. They're interfering with the delivery of service in Baltimore City. I've never seen a generation of workers in city government who have been so disrespectful to the taxpayers who pay their salaries that I've seen since the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, and this has got to stop. And the people, the taxpayers have got to demand better. They can just sit back and accept bad service.
Exactly.
Oh, well, that's horrible, of course. We have to demand better.
Exactly, you have to demand better. And here's the thing. Okay, you get people who are on the campaign trail and they get out there and they're all smiles and sunshine and Shirley Temple, and they talk about how wonderful things are going to be, and yes, it's going to be tough and we're going to have a good tough fight, but I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to help the people, and then you find out when they get into office, and this is coming up later. This is coming up later because I'm segueing into it. And when you find out when you get into office that everything they said was a lie, they're not bringing better service. They're disrespecting the workers. They're discriminating. They're aiding and abetting in discrimination and harassment and intimidation and sexual harassment at the top, at the very top. And then you find all this stuff out. And here's the thing. Eventually you run across a person or certain people who just aren't going to put up with it anymore, and who have the means and the know-how to deal with people who are in positions of power in order to get people in a situation, to get the city in a situation, and the situation being having the light shown on what's going on. Because the people, they honestly don't know. They believe a politician, when they're talking to them and they're saying nice things and how they're going to give money, especially the money part, money to them and money to organizations and so on, and they want to believe them, and they believe them, and then while they're doing the dirty, and this is the dirtiest city, Baltimore's the dirtiest city in the country, and you have the dirtiest district. That's James Torrance's district, District 10. That's the dirtiest district in the dirtiest city with the dirtiest mayor. So you got all this dirt, you got a mountain of dirt, and it's piled up. And you gotta dig in and you gotta remove the dirt. You gotta get rid of those people when you find out they're no good. And there needs to be a mechanism. Doc called for it too. A recall, remove and replace. That's the part of the accountability. That's the part of the transparency. Because it doesn't mean anything if people can see what's going on, yet that person gets to stay in office and continue it. It doesn't mean, what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. It just hurts the citizens if you don't have a mechanism, especially in a strong mayor system, especially with the way that these people who are elected officials lie, get into office, and you don't have a mechanism to remove them. There should be a recall. I believe there should be a remove and replace. It's in the charter already. It needs to be tweaked so that the citizens can then actually do something other than yelling and screaming.
Well, I mean, your point is well taken. Listen, we have mechanisms to get rid of poor performers who are in the civil service.
Exactly.
Well, anyone who leaves the civil service should be subject to the same opportunity to be removed for performance issues based on the will of the people.
Exactly. I concur. And Linda, I want to thank you. I know you only had a few minutes. You gave me a little bit more time than I thought you would. But thanks for your poignant information and what you've given to us. And I'll be talking to you probably later today. I'll give you a call.
And may I just add one additional thing, sir?
Okay.
And that is, I have never seen, I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't had the opportunity to witness it on my own. An environment, a culture in a city like Baltimore where blacks are the majority, numerical majority, where the discrimination, while it does occur between races, I've never seen as much black on black discrimination as I have in Baltimore, anywhere else in my extensive domestic and international career. This is just abysmal, the way that folks of the same skin color treat each other apart. Political lines within the infrastructure of city government, and it needs to turn. This culture needs to change, and it needs to change quickly, because we have very little that we can rely upon at this particular point. We've done everything we could to clamor for better education, to clamor for better public safety, to clamor to clean up the city, and none of this has changed, despite the escalating salaries of the people who manage these programs and the endless bounty of funds that have come into the city. It still looks, smells, and performs the same, and it needs to change. And so thank you for your ability to be insightful and to bring these issues to the people. And I thank you for having your courageous co-host Cheatham there, who has done and continue to do so much for the city and to bring these issues to light. I thank you all for what you do, and I look forward to having the opportunity to talk with you again in the future.
Definitely. Linda Batts, President of Friends of Gwynns Falls Parkway. Thanks for being on The Outsiders.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, what's going on there? I mean, with Doc, you still there? I want to make sure you're still there.
Oh yeah, I'm
Call
still
didn't
here.
drop. Make sure your call didn't drop. This system, these phone systems, these calls dropping is insane. But what happened at that town hall? There was a gentleman who got up to ask a question in regards to no, actually it was a lady who did. And she asked a question in regards to the trash and the rats, because it's the dirtiest city in America. And what was Sheila Dixon going to do about it? And, you know, her answer was kind of, you know, we got to improve services, blah, blah. She didn't mention anything, this is Sheila Dixon, about the charter. First of all, your answer should have been, we have a charter. This is the answer she should have given. This is the correct answer. We have a charter, a city charter, where the refuse and the trash, recycle, etc. is supposed to be picked up twice a week. What I'm going to do is once I get into office, I'm going to immediately invoke the charter and have the DPW pick up the trash as the charter says. That should have been our answer. Then you can add icing, you know, to the cake. And yes, we're going to focus on the neighborhoods and have people keep their neighborhoods clean, and we're going to have programs like that as an addition to the charter. That's a correct answer, Sheila Dixon. That is how you answer the question. You left out the charter. There's rules and regulations. There's rules and regulations about the way things get done. So it's not just cupcake answers to make people feel good. So I just wanted to put that out, that there is a charter indeed. And I want to get to the fact that, again, Town Hall, Sheila Dixon's running for mayor, and she did let it be known. Okay, what is it? Ambulance? Anyway, she let it be known that, yes, she did believe that you should have the best people around you. However, what kind of struck me as odd is that in the beginning of the town hall meeting, she calls up Xavier Conaway. He's a 24-year-old kid. Xavier Washington was his name. And he's a 24-year-old kid whose mom is Belinda Conaway. His granddad is Frank Conaway, Sr. And he changed his name to run for office. Because in Baltimore, all they have to do is see a name. Once they see a name, that's it. The citizens of Baltimore, much to my chagrin, do not vet people. They just see a name on a ballot. People were coming out after that vote for clerk of the court and that primary, and they were telling people that I know, once they found out it was a 24-year-old kid they voted for, they were in shock. They said, if I had known that, I wouldn't have voted for him. That's what they said. Yeah, that's your fault. You should have looked up the candidates instead of just going in and voting on a name. So Sheila Dixon calls him up, and he sits right in the front. And I'm thinking, this is interesting, because Bishop Barry Chapman, who's a representative of the circuit court employees, he represents them. He was a part of the union. And he actually retired from doing that, I guess technically. Came back from doing it because he was getting so many complaints. People were crying, begging him, because this kid got into office and the people are terrorized. And it's a situation going on there. And promises were made by this kid before he got in. He actually won the primary. And there wasn't a Republican running in. Some rules were set up where anyone else couldn't run either, which was dirty and disgusting. So I'm going to play, because you want to be around people with integrity, huh, Sheila? I'm going to play this, the integrity. I'm going to play the integrity. Cue this up. And his promises. Okay, cue it up.
This next step is to reach out and work with the current clerk to make sure we get the transition moving as quickly as possible to understand what we're stepping into, because one of the things I want to make sure it's done is to make sure that the employees that are working there know that they're going to have a clerk that is going to be a partner to them, that they understand that help is on the way, that they're going to have someone who's going to really make sure that they are taken care of, that the vacancies that are causing a staffing crisis.
Stop, wait a minute. I did this before, I gotta do it again. That's not what Bishop Barry Chapman's telling me. He's not in there helping people. Those people are terrorized. I'm going to try to get Bishop on the show to go over what's going on. What about this brown lunch? Hey Sheila, did you advise Xavier to have brown lunches with the employees? You know, when they have a problem, if they feel as though they're being discriminated against, or sexually harassed, intimidated, retaliated against. Did you give him that advice? Let me go on to the promises that were made.
That's no better way to put it than a crisis. It's going to be addressed, and it's a high priority because nothing else can be fixed unless we address the staffing shortages where we have at least 50 positions unfilled, including the deputy clerk and the assistant deputy clerk positions unfilled. And
okay, unfilled. Yeah, they have at the Circuit Court of Baltimore City, they have the clerk of the court. That's the elected official. Then they have the administration. Let me explain people how things work. You have the chief deputy clerk of the court. They're basically second in command. Then you have two assistant chief deputy clerks of the court. Those people are the clerk's administration. So they're the top of the chain.
And we want to make sure that we can go in and see what's happening and maybe possibly have an audit if possible.
Okay, now what he's stating, Doc, did you hear that he said you should have an audit?
I'm not hearing it as clear as I think I should. It could be. I've been audible here.
Okay. He mentioned that when he got in, there should be an audit. There should be an audit done. Yes, there should be an audit done. I wonder if an audit was done. I'll talk to Bishop because Bishop did tell me he met with Xavier Conway. They met, so I'm going to find out if that has been done. Let me continue.
Really find out where the money's being spent, where the resources, and how we can get that aligned.
Okay, man, he just said they want to find out where the money is being spent, how the resources are being aligned. Now, this is what he said he was going to do when he got into office. Okay, you're going to have audits, you're going to find out where the money's being spent.
This was done at Sheila's town hall meeting?
No, this is what Sheila said when I asked her the question. When I asked her the question, you're going to have quality people around you. You're going to have the best people during your campaign, and if you become mayor, you're going to have, people of high integrity. So she just happened to have Xavier Conway sitting in front of her, and the information I've been receiving from Bishop Barry Chapman goes completely against any integrity. And not just that, it's campaign promises that you can listen to, and I'm being told that he's not fulfilling any of them. So where's the integrity? You want to surround yourself with people with integrity during your campaign, and if you become mayor. So I'm going to continue with the integrity. This is the integrity that this young man is showing, and he's an elected official.
So we can step in day one, hit the ground running, and really try to get these promises as quickly as possible and efficiently as possible.
I have to ask, because one of our viewers just asked, let's put this to rest. Is your name Xavier Dixon or is it Xavier Conway? Is your name Xavier Dixon or is it Xavier Conway?
Well, this is what I think. This is just my opinion. He's sitting so close to Sheila Dixon. I mean, it's what is she, like a surrogate mom? Belinda wasn't there as real mom, so I guess Sheila plays a surrogate mom. I guess they're grooming him to run for mayor. So when he runs for mayor, was he going to change his name again to Dixon? Xavier Dixon? And that might have been a Freudian slip. That was Hassan Giordano from the political regulator show that's defunct. But
one who calls himself Mr. Politics.
Yeah, Mr. Politics was there sitting way in the back. Way in the back. He was there at the town hall, but that's what my take is. He's going to change his name again to Dixon. Because, I think it would work. If he changed his name again to Xavier Dixon, I guess it'll be Xavier Conway Dixon. So when the people go to vote for him, because I believe, this is my opinion, I was only a campaign advisor, on multiple campaigns, that's all. I don't know anything. This is my opinion. My opinion is they're grooming him because Belinda's daddy didn't get the gig as mayor. So, you know what? hey, let's get the grandson in. They're kind of way to be mayor. So they're grooming him, getting him close to Sheila, and I believe that they're so hard up to get to that point that he would change his name to Xavier Dixon. That's just my opinion.
I would suggest to our great listeners that if they haven't seen the movie Distinguished Gentleman, they need to go see it so you can see how someone, in fact, can get elected by using a different name. And if you don't know what the candidate looks like, and I know that's the situation we have with Xavier in our neighborhood, most have never seen him before.
No. I mean, just pops up out of nowhere. I mean, he was in a Sun article years ago when Belinda, where she was living, when she was trying to get in her office, and that came up, and he told the Sun, we visit here, we visit. We live here, but we visit in the county or something. So they started grooming him at a young age. And there are all types of nefarious things going on from the information I'm getting back from Bishop Chapman and others, many others, people who were former employees of the Circuit Court for Baltimore City. They've given me a lot of information on what's happened and how things happen and how they do things.
We got less than a year to make some significant changes and significant improvements. And if all we do is put back in the same people that are in office, we have nobody to blame but ourselves. This is the opportunity that we have in less than a year, in May of next year, is to make significant changes and improvements where necessary. I'm not making a broad brush on everybody, but I think about 85% of the elected officials that we have in office right now do not deserve to be reelected.
Well, I'm going to continue because there were more promises made. And again, this is about Sheila Dixon telling me, and she's in a church, mind you. This was at a church, New Tabernacle. This was at a church that she's telling these people, I'm going to surround myself with people of high integrity. And I'm going to fight to protect those who, who are being discriminated against and harassed or sexually harassed. Oh, really? Okay, let's continue.
I think we just need to bring it back to the clerk's office. We need someone in there who's just going to be seen, is going to be accessible. It's not going to sit on ivory tower and just talk down to the workers. We need someone who's just going to work with them shoulder to shoulder and make sure that people...
Okay, work with them shoulder to shoulder. I'm dissecting. These are promises that are made. I guess not technically a campaign because it was over, but these are still promises that were made by an elected official who is now in, I guess, cahoots, who's a booster, who's a supporter of Sheila Dixon. Even on her Facebook page, they have a video of this kid talking about, he's supporting Sheila Dixon. And this is what he said. He's gonna, hey, I'm gonna help them out. First of all, kid, how in the world do you think you're gonna walk in at circuit court, and these people have been there for 10, 15, 20, 25 plus years, and you're just gonna go over and show them what to do? Doc, I'm just gonna stop there. Does that make sense to you, Doc? Does that make any sense?
No, but I think what we have to really scrutinize is the experience that one brings to a position, and your willingness to not only learn and listen from the older employees that are there, but to really, I would say for the first couple of years, be a stronger listener than you are a talker, so you can all get on the same page. All I can say is, if the current clerk were to walk in front of me, I wouldn't know who he was.
Well, let me continue.
People know that there's someone in the clerk's office who's going to take care of them and have their back every step of the way.
No, that's an absolute lie. That I'm going to go right out on record and say it. That's an absolute lie because I know it to be a fact. Let me go on.
And that's what we plan on doing, and we will do. So
that's the problem. So, two things. One, are you going to re-implement your grandfather's old no open door policy. He didn't have no door. He used to you bring me in the office, he said, I always told you open door. I ain't got no door.
Yes, Frank did have an open door policy, and if you were having trouble, difficulty, a supervisor was, maybe, doing some things you didn't like, or your manager or whatever, he had a policy where, you can go in and talk to him. I know this to be true. I know people who were working there when Frank was the clerk of the court, and they told me, Sean, if you had an issue, you could go in and talk to Frank. There was no chain of command. You didn't have to go to your supervisor first. And your supervisor had to check with your manager. Then your manager had to check with the chief, assistant chief deputy clerk. And then your assistant chief deputy clerk had to check with the chief deputy clerk. And then finally, it got to the clerk. And then maybe you might get some attention. No, it wasn't like that. It's like that now. But let me go on.
When you reinstitute the open door policy, Grandma, and two, the Board of Elections, the clerk of certain courts was supposed to implement technology into a system that is very much.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Hassan. The technology, the Maryland electronic court system. Let's hear young Xavier's answer to Hassan Giordano's two questions.
Anyway, you're still doing things in carbon copy paper in it.
Of course they were. They were softballs. But let's listen to his answer, because his answer is very interesting.
Baltimore City was supposed to be one of the first jurisdictions to implement this new technology. Unfortunately, they chose to pass it off to other local jurisdictions who actually got it. So will Baltimore City finally upgrade to the 21st century under your administration?
That's two good questions, and I'll address the first one quickly. Yes, we will have an open door policy.
What is somebody having a drag race? What the? Now I'm recording off of what they recorded, okay? I didn't have any drag races. There's not any going on right now. So let me continue.
Some sort. I have to talk to them, see if I can get rid of the door. That might be something I need to talk with.
Let me stop. That is bullshit. Complete bullshit. What he just said. That door is on. Is locked.
Who was that that was talking?
That was young Xavier, Washington, Alexander, Conaway Jackson, whatever, soon to be Dixon maybe.
Okay.
He was saying that I'm going to have to do the door removed. They can come straight to me. And he's saying that. And then, Doc, if you were to go down to the circuit court right now and go to Xavier Conaway's Washington, whatever, his office, that door is shut. They got a ring or something on there on top of it. It's a security door.
Maybe you can explain something to me, because of course I wasn't there at the town hall. But what was the difference for him to have so much to say in the town hall meeting that I thought was called by her?
Well, here's the thing. This is. He didn't say anything. This is what he promised from the show to political regulators about a year or so ago, before he got in officially. So this is, I'm playing back what he was saying he was going to do when he got in. When he was there at the town, full disclosure, when he was there at the town hall last night, he didn't say anything. Sheila sat him down, pointed where he should sit. He said, here, yes. He sat down, and he stayed in that seat, did not say anything. She was playing surrogate mom because his mommy wasn't there, and she made sure to babysit him. He didn't say anything last night. This is from the political regulator show.
Okay. I got a better understanding. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So let me go on.
And the chief judge, but we're definitely going to make sure that I am accessible to the workers and the public.
Stop. No, he is not accessible to the workers. No. No. So this integrity you're talking about, you surrounding yourself.
Do the workers have a union there?
If you want to call it that, they have the AFSCME. Ask me. I believe Council 3. Okay, Local Council 3, and that's the union. Patrick Moran, I mean, he's one of the top guys as well. So I don't know what they're doing to protect their workers. I know this much: Bishop Chapman is very, very upset with the unions for not protecting the people. He's very upset with them. So from what he's telling me, they're not much use at all. So I guess this kid figures, and he was told by these people who are probably right under him, you know, what to do. Let me go on because it gets a little bit more interesting.
That comes in all different forms, not just through Open Door, but making sure that I work with the employees at the courthouse. I've talked about on my platform that I'm going to at least once a week work in each.
That's a lie. That's not going on. That's a lie. That's a bald-faced lie. So, Sheila, you talk about you want to be around people with integrity. Did you have a sit down with this kid? Did you talk to him? Did you find out, hey, you know what? I need to vet this kid who's coming in. Let me, you know, put some feelers out with the circuit court for Baltimore City and the people that work there. Is he doing what he says he's doing? Let me find that out. See, this is what I'm talking about. She's a politician and she's talking all good. And we have mutual friends and they're for her, and it was more of a cheerleading session that went on last night at that town hall than anything. And there's nothing wrong with that. You want her to be in there, but at the same time, you're saying you want to be around quality people, and you've got all these shenanigans going on at the circuit court, and there's a lot more that's going to come out. Is what's going on. A lot more is coming out. And I just got a text before we started this podcast, Doc, about some malfeasance that's going on at the circuit court. And it's some serious business. I just got a text. And I'm going to be looking into it. I'm going to be talking with Bishop Barry Chapman as well. But let me go on, because, Sheila, you hook yourself up with, I don't know if you remember that movie, Doc. It was Slim Pickens. And it was a Peter Sellers movie. And it was about nuclear war. How am I forgetting the name? And Slim Pickens strapped himself up onto a missile, and he had his cowboy hat on, and he's waving his cowboy hat.
No, he strapped himself onto the bomb.
On the bomb, yeah. And he's riding the bomb. And he's waving the cowboy hat around as the bomb is going down. The nuke is going down. James Earl Jones was in it too. He was one of the pilots in the movie. And he's waving his cowboy hat around, and the bomb, of course, goes down and it explodes. That's Sheila. See, Sheila's Slim Pickens. And she's on that bomb. She strapped herself to that nuke, the Conways. And she's waving her hat and flailing around and having a good time. Yeehaw, my numbers are up. The polls show my numbers are up. Gonzalez, oh, my numbers are up. I'm over Brandon 12%. And she's just waving that cowboy hat. And she's strapped to that nuke. And that's what's going on. And she was warned about the nuke. And she just jumped right on board. Yeehaw! Right, Sheila?
One of the offices for the workers, because I think the clerks should actually know what it's like to be at the ground levels, to actually work side by side and help.
That's not going on. What is there, some kind of issue? I don't know what's going on with this kid. No, that's not what's going on at all. Integrity, huh, Sheila? That's what you want around you during your campaign.
All these problems. So I think that's one thing that's going to really help boost morale and let the workers know that I'm not just in the office and they're never going to hear from me again, that they're going to see me, they're going to hear from me by phone lines.
Yeah, as you terrorize them. That's how they're going to hear from you, as you terrorizing them. This is from Bishop Chapman.
It's going to be open, calls will be returned, and that's going to be one of the most crucial aspects of the clerk's office, is to make sure it's a public service-centered office, and that's what we're going to do. As for the paper system that we have at the courthouse,
now he's getting ready to talk about, and this is really important, folks, this electronic system that's supposed to be in, they were going to start with Baltimore first, but they found some hiccups. I believe an audit was done. An audit took place, Doc. Did you know about the audit that took place with the Baltimore City Circuit Court?
No, I know very, very little about the circuit court since Frank Senior left.
Well, a lot more is going to be coming out. They're going to learn a lot more about the circuit court. There was an audit done. Anyway, this audit was done, and there were some bumps in the road. We're putting in the electronic court system. It was supposed to have been put in Baltimore first, but every other county has it. Baltimore doesn't have it. They're the last to not have it. And I've gone back and forth with emails with the circuit court, with the state, the Maryland Judiciary, and they gave some reasons why, but there's issues. Let me go on.
It's just egregious that we're one of the only counties in Maryland that doesn't have an electronic record system, where every other county in Maryland.
No, actually, no, it's not one of two now. We're the only. Baltimore City is the only district that doesn't have it.
Has electronic record system that taxpayers already paid $80 million.
Doc, did you know the taxpayers had, at that time, paid $80 million out for this thing?
No, not at all.
$80 million. It's not up. It's just sitting there. So there's taxpayers' money that's gone out for services they're not getting. Let me go on.
I would really say, having been a past union president for more than 40 years, I really think the employees got to get up and say something, or they need to get new representation. If all of this is going on where there's union representation, I'm appalled that more is not being done. You can always bring in and vote for a new union, and I'm really troubled that we are hearing so much negativity. But I'm wondering, what's the involvement of the folks that are getting paid, that are voted upon to represent these employees? Exactly.
You have employees, you have a union, they pay dues, and this is the type of service you get. You're getting treated like crap like this. But let me go on, because people need to know, what promises were made and what's going on right now.
Sorry, I'm out the door, paying for electronic system, yet we do not have it. So I am going to request just simply again to see them put an investigation to find out why we're one of the only two us.
Yeah, Doc, I agree with that. An investigation should be done to find out why the MDEX system isn't set up in Baltimore City. Do you concur?
Yeah, I think the fact that you pay union officials to represent you rather than putting themselves out on them, that the local union representatives need to agree. This needs to be a request that's made upon the union representation to ask that official question in writing on their behalf.
I agree wholeheartedly. That's exactly what should be done. People don't know. The Baltimore City Circuit Court, or the Circuit Court for Baltimore City, it's a honeypot. See, people don't know about it. They don't know how important it is. But they're going to find out. They're going to find out exactly what goes on. Let me continue.
So it's county, but we about Baltimore City, why we do not have an electronic record system. So that is going to be a huge priority to make sure we can do that, because Baltimore, as you know, is one of the biggest courthouses in the country, one of the most services of any clerk's office in the state. So we need to make sure that the people are getting what they already paid for. And I want to go in there and find out, uncover every penny, see where it's being spent, and make sure we are allocating it where it should be to the people and to the workers, because we can't have workers when it's already paid for. And I want to go in there and find out, uncover every penny, see where it's being spent, and make sure we are allocating it where it should be to.
Now, that's a good question. Has he gone in there and he said he was going to uncover every penny, where it's being spent and where it's being allocated? That's what you should do. But is that being done? Because workers are running around looking for pens and paper clips, and what was going on there was, the information I got from King Banks, who was there and said what was going on, told me. And has every penny been uncovered? What is going on there with all that money? They got a 30 million plus 35 million budget, Doc. So what's going on there? We know that from Bishop Barry Chapman that the people are very upset and feel as though they're being terrorized. But
Is Chapman a member of this local union?
Who's that?
Is Chapman a member of this local union?
He used to actually represent the union. He was the guy. He would go down to Annapolis. He did it for like 30 years. So he was the guy, Bishop Barry Chapman. And he had run-ins with a bunch of people. He's having a run-in with Xavier Conaway right now. They're going at it. Truth be told. They're going because of what's going on and what Bishop is telling me, the way he's treating the employees. And the union, they're not doing anything.
Right now, is Chapman representing the local now?
I don't believe he's representing the local, but he's representing the individual workers in some capacity. Yes, and I'm gonna try to get him on the show so we can go over all that.
Yeah, I think that would be very beneficial and helpful. To the listening audience, including myself, because as I said, I was a member of a union for over 40 years. I was also the president, so there are certain protocols that you can follow to get things done. If, as a union, the union members are having problems with the administration, there are some procedures we can go through. But I'm not hearing what is done and has been done. So I think it would be very advantageous if we get him in and any other representatives from that local to come and share with us, information coming directly from them.
I concur. I think that's an excellent idea. Let me finish up in just a few more minutes because people have to hear what else was said.
If you want to the workers, because you can't have workers around pens, paper, can't have computers that have cameras on it so they can do Zooms for the courtrooms, like live courtrooms for doing Zoom hearings. They don't even have computers with a camera on it. They have to use their phone. Like, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. So this is why these issues are so urgent, and we need someone who understands the urgency of getting these problems done. So I definitely plan on making sure this is investigated and we find out where the money's going and how.
Okay, he said it should be investigated to find out where the money is going. I'm gonna have, Doc, you're right. We're really gonna need to speak with Bishop Barry Chapman. He's met with Xavier Conaway to go over the concerns of employees. So he has met with him. He wasn't happy with the meeting, from what he told me. And there's some serious issues that are going on. Let me finish.
We'll get us to the courthouse as soon as possible.
So now that you don't have a Republican candidate, I know that there was a lawsuit. Did that lawsuit go anywhere? Or what happened with that?
That was supposed to be a complaint. I haven't seen anything about a complaint personally. I haven't seen anything filed, so I'm not worried about it.
Now, he wasn't worried about the lawsuit. That about his name. That went on during the election, but what's going on in that situation? What's going on in Baltimore, the dirtiest city? I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it because people need to do something about it. First of all, the elections. You have to vet your candidate. You can't just look at a name and say, oh, gee whiz, I know that name, and just check it. Because it might be somebody's kid or grandkid who doesn't know jack squat. Distinguished Gentleman, Eddie Murphy movie, yeah, you need to look at it. Because that pretty much what happened last year. The Morgan Presser, Worley confirmation. Doc, here's the thing I'm worried about with Worley, and we're gonna I'm gonna play the bank's report and we're gonna finish. But what's gonna happen next? What's the next event? Since this guy became acting commissioner, it's been one mass shooting after another, and them handling it with cover-ups, crime scene wiped in just a few hours, and now you got this event with Morgan, another mass shooting. What's next? I mean, the only thing people can do is pray. You need prayer. This city needs prayer, and it needs prayer badly. Doc, what do you think?
Well, course, I am really concerned and troubled with reference to the shootings, but in this particular instance, I'm just as concerned to a great degree of how these shooting incidents are being handled and how they are not being properly and immediately communicated to those of us that are residents that live here in the city.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm saying that things are happening here. We should be getting information quicker and more expediently so that we have the intelligent information to do something about it. I really think that there still needs to be an outside investigation of the Brooklyn incident because they basically investigated themselves.
And here's another thing. We've had this sign up. I'm going to point, my YouTube people can see. I'm pointing to it. It's a 206 sign because Brandon Scott, Slim Shady, the embarrassment, promised 15% each year reduction in homicide. That means his third year, the homicide rate should be a 45% reduction. 15 plus 15 plus 15 is 45. It's not 45% reduction. And the homicide rate should be no higher than 206. And I'm looking at the website, Baltimore City Homicides, and it has 2023, Doc. You know, the homicides are at 214. It's 214 souls that have been murdered in the city of Baltimore, and we just got into the month of October. This is a travesty. This is disgusting. And to be happy, we might get under 300. The murder rate is like 1 in every 2,500. New York is 1 in every 30,000. Other cities in comparable size of Baltimore, they're not even close in the homicide rate. 1 per 3,000 or 2,500? It's a disgrace. And his campaign promise broken for the third year in a row. He has broken his campaign promise because you did not reach in your third year 45%, not 15. And every news person that puts out there and says, any pundit that says 15% and it's getting lower, anybody that does that is doing a disservice to the truth. That's a disservice to the truth, because the truth is he promised reduction in homicide, that's murder, a 15% reduction every year. You can't brag about, it's 20% reduction now. You're still 25% underwater, Ace. Okay, kid? You're 25% underwater. And the people who are suffering for it because you gutted the BPD, you gutted the police force, you called for, we should defund the police. You gutted the police. There are 800 plus less officers on the street. That's why people are out here shooting and doing things at Morgan and going out and doing the craziness and all the stuff and stealing cars, because the criminals know that they're 800 plus officers short because we had this knucklehead mayor that gutted the BPD. And that's what's really going on. Okay.
I would like to share with the audience very quickly.
Sure.
The homicide rate for today on this particular show that we had shows 18 Central District, 24 Eastern District, 12 Northern District, 34 Northeast District, 16 Northwest, 33 Southern, 22 Southeast, 22 Southwest, and 33, that was the number a year ago in December. So we already had the number that we had last December for the Western District. We already had 33, which means the gun violence reduction in the Western District has already been $1 billion for 2023. We still got 2.5 months yet to go. Wow,
that is a disgrace. That's a disgrace. These people with no integrity who are in office is a disgrace. And I'm going to swing, we're going to finish with the Banks report. We're gonna finish with the banks report. Doc, you gonna stay on or you have to leave us?
Yes, sir. I can stay on and get some education from this man.
Okay, let me go ahead and queue up and play the banks report.
It seems like here lately I've spent a lot of time trying to handle my business on the phone. I can never get this time back, and it is so frustrating. And without going into the boring detail of putting any one office under the microscope, I just want to share that I understand why government employees have such a negative image in the eyes of the citizens. Now, I have over 25 years of experience working for the state of Maryland, mostly in the criminal justice system and some experience in the federal government. I have worked with a vast array of personalities, ages, and cultures. And one thing is common among all. There are disgruntled employees everywhere. Usually because they feel unappreciated and are usually underpaid. When we, the citizens, call these agencies expecting the services for which our taxes are paid, we often receive service so poor that at the end of several calls that were transferred from one person to another, we become disgruntled. Whether the employees realize it or not, they have transferred their feelings of defeat onto us. The employee who is unhappy with his or her state of existence is either unable to find a way to improve their situation or too lazy to start trying to find a better way. They are not interested in offering resolution to our problems or even steering us in the right direction. Instead, they pass us off to the next person, who more than likely is not the person with whom we need to speak. Their mission on any given day is to fake the funk for 8 hours. How can I get through this 8-hour day doing as little as possible? I know a lot of people like this. It actually takes more time and energy to bullshit all day than it does to actually work. Working makes the day progress so much faster. We know that there will always be that select group of people with integrity and stellar work ethic who will not abuse their leave, report to work on time, early if possible, who will not make the office suffer because of personal issues, will not bring problems to work, because, let's be frank, we can't solve them for you, and we didn't cause them. We're all here for a common goal of working and providing these services. So why would you want to come to work and torment your coworkers with issues that have nothing to do with them? These employees are able to remain courteous and professional in the face of adversity and conflict, and who value their image and what they bring to the job. Kudos to us. Shame on the employers who do not lead by example, who require far more than they are willing to offer, who require far more than they're able to offer. How about that? Who undervalue the worth of the percentage of professionals, hardworking and motivated employees who deserve a promotion, a chance to exhibit other skills, whose experience, years of service, and irreplaceable knowledge leads their team on a daily basis. There is always a lead employee who manages the office on a daily basis, to whom the employees come to, including the supervisors, to consult for guidance. And yet they are passed over and ignored for reward. Sometimes it is because they pose a threat to the less qualified. Many times it's because a select group of hand-picked minions have jumped in the pocket of the powers that be in order to gain favor. These minions, crabs in a barrel, are so consumed by greed and a desire for false power and dirty money, so busy stepping on the necks and backs of their comrades, so busy jumping for that dangled banana, that they don't see the rotten spots that are slowly forming. That banana soon rots, and their promise for control and prestige never materializes. It's a mirage, designed to trick and manipulate. There's only so much information that a minion can provide, so much snitching and spying that they can do until the need for their services is no longer needed. And then what? To my comrades out in the trenches fighting the good fight and representing their true worth, whether it's recognized or rewarded, keep your head up. Stay fearless. Don't fall victim to a mirage. If we do as we are called to do, even when no one is looking, that means having integrity. We don't have to worry about getting caught. Well, secrets being revealed. We live free and are not beholden to anyone. So to you, sit back and watch your enemies fall like dominoes. This is Kim Banks for The Outsiders.
That was Kim Banks, the Banks Report. And oh, so true, the words that she said, what goes on in the workplace, what these employers, these elected officials, what they do to these people is horrific. It should be exposed. These elected officials that are out there that are hurting people, that are planting information, false information on people. Yes, people, that happens. That go in, that change records around, change reports around on the targets that they have, retaliating against them, breaking the law, doing all types of malfeasance, hurting their employees by falsifying records, by lying, by cheating. Elected officials who are engaged in such horrible, horrible behavior. And it should be exposed. Those who are out there who are doing it. I'm Sean Sims. Thanks for being with me today on The Outsiders. Phone call coming in. But thanks again. I'll get that phone call in a little bit. I'll have to call him back. I'm Sean Sims, the host of The Outsiders podcast. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for being good citizens, the ones who are. Those who are out there who get the show, who are doing the dirty, you know who you are. We're The Outsiders, and we're here to do two things. Chew bubblegum and kick ass. And we're all out of bubble gum. God bless and goodbye.
You are now listening to The Outsiders Podcast.